got to the point now where you can't even be upset anymore with your team's results. I can't be. How can you be upset with the team results? I've been living with this for the best part of flipping, 33 years now? I don't know. We go from beating the best team in the country to losing to one of the, not worst teams in the country, but not one of the better ones at the moment. Still currently in the bottom half of the league table. I don't know where we go, man. Seriously, I have no idea. Anyway, we'll get into it. We'll go into the Wednesday game first, because that was a game that was meant to be played earlier in the season. Match day 8, I believe it was. Man United versus Leeds ended 2-2. Rashford obviously kept up his amazing record. He obviously did it again over the weekend against the same opponents as well, which we'll obviously get into. But 2-2 that ended. Really, really good game. Very exciting game as well. End to end that was. Leeds took a 2-0 lead. And then Man United obviously rallied and then got the point. In the end, as stated before, Ten Hag, good, really, really good manager. Really, really good. Liking everything that he's doing over there at the moment. And it's easy to see why at the minute, to be quite honest with you. Leeds obviously parted ways with Jesse Marsch, who I'm hearing is now going to be the new manager of Southampton. I'm hearing that's close at the moment. But for the games that Leeds obviously have played without him, they've been all right. Both the games against Man United, they played quite well, I thought. But that was a really, really entertaining draw. Man United would obviously kick on from here as well. Will definitely make the top 4, top 3 even. And they'll probably look to spend a lot in the summer. I also heard that they're under an offer, a takeover, new owners. I think the Glazers were looking for something above sort of, was it 600 and some nonsense astronomical figure in the billions. I don't think anyone's going to look to fork that much out for that club. But I heard Elon Musk has sort of tipped his hat and is going to put it into the ring as well to see if he could purchase Man United as well. So interesting developments there. So we'll obviously see what happens next with regards to that. On to the weekend then. First game up was West Ham versus Chelsea. Entertaining game, actually, I thought, as they usually tend to be. I had West Ham, I think I said it'll be a win for Chelsea, actually, a 1-0 win Chelsea. Not surprised West Ham got a draw, to be fair. Chelsea still obviously haven't gelled yet, but I just thought the individual brilliance of certain Chelsea players would obviously get them through, which clearly didn't work. West Ham happened to be the better team in the second half as well. Don't think Chelsea carved out many chances in the second half, actually, from what I remember. But that was a typical West Ham Chelsea game. Really, really decent stuff played. Never many goals. It's always usually sort of a 1-0 or 2-1 type affair. On this occasion, obviously, it was a 1-1 draw. Fair point in the end. Chelsea still sitting in 10th, and obviously West Ham will climb the table because obviously I don't think they're in any danger at all, but will finish in the bottom half, as I've stated before. On to Craven Cottage, Fulham versus Nottingham Forest. Forest are actually were the best team in the league turn of the year. I think they were sort of top of the form table, which is not surprising to me because I've been saying it all season. They will be one of the surprise packages of the season. But they came undone. A very resurgent Fulham at the moment. Picking up results, man. But Fulham are doing really, really good bits at the moment. Comfortably will be top half of the table. As for Nottingham Forest, I've got them comfortably sort of round about sort of 12th, 13th. They're too good at home, and that's obviously the form that's going to keep them sort of where they're at the moment. But I did call that to be a Fulham win, to be honest. I think I called it maybe 1-0 or 2-1. So not surprised there. Fulham obviously playing really well under Marco Silva, and they will, I'm hearing, buy in the summer as well. So they're going to have a nice haul over the summer too. So depending on how much they get, Fulham can obviously kick on from this season and look to maybe push for the European places. Who knows? We'll go to the King Power Stadium. I don't necessarily want to, but we'll go there anyway. It started out so great for us as well, for more than one reason. Obviously, we got the goal early, Bentancur on the score sheet, and then all of a sudden, got packed like a nappy. Got absolutely packed like a nappy, folded like a panini, stabbed up with we got absolutely peppered after that first goal. Bentancur obviously injured now, out for the rest of the season. Bissouma obviously has undergone surgery. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Suspended Højbjerg now. He's going to be missing for tonight's game. So we're literally stuck with Ollie, Skip, and Sarr. Not to say that Sarr is not a very good player. He's proven that he can obviously step up in certain games, certain scenarios, but he's an untried partnership with Skip. So Skip and Sarr are looking like our starting central midfielders this evening. This is going to be a long, long one. I can feel it against AC Milan tonight. But back to the game over the weekend. Leicester 4, Spurs 1. We got absolutely put in a spliff, as X would say. Peppered on all sides of the pitch. Just give them too much space. Down the flanks, too much space. Pedro Porro got cooked every opportunity they got. Perisic got cooked as well, every opportunity he got down inside as well. But they kept on getting in the inside pockets, which we weren't dealing with at all. And this is what happens when you play against pace and you try to obviously play sort of up the pitch. You get caught. And when we got caught in possession, we got punished every single time. Not really much more I can really add to that, to be quite honest with you. We're one of those teams where you'll never know what you're going to get with us. 1 week we could be scintillating. Manchester City last week, very, very good, very resilient performance, defensively very sound. And then you're going to get games like over the weekend. So now next week we got a West Ham coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I don't really know how that's going to go. West Ham usually tend to come over and give us good games, and they usually tend to get results at us as well. So I don't know what my prediction is going to be for that. I'm going to be honest with you. But I've got a little bit of time to think about it when I'm doing all these off anyway. And then I'll go into the predictions thereafter. But yeah, we got beat again very, very comfortably away from home. So that's just the theme of our season away from home at the moment. Just a joke. I think we've lost now 8 games this season. But yeah, still only 2 points behind 4th. It's all madness, to be quite honest with you. I don't really know what's happening at the club at the moment. Arsenal 1, Brentford 1 did make me feel a bit better after that though. This is around about the time I did say Arsenal will start to dwindle down the table, and it's going to happen because Manchester City will catch them. City will be beating them in the week as well. Arsenal's bubbles burst, to be quite honest with you. They were never going to win the league anyway. It's just funny to know that it's not going to happen, and obviously funnier to know that they could obviously start boasting about it now. I've been saying this for weeks anyway. They ain't going to do nothing. I think it's a fluke they're up there. I think they caught everybody in the wrong time of their form. I think Arsenal got lucky with regards to that. So everyone they've obviously beaten have been in a very, 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 very terrible run of form. And obviously, that's obviously how they've been doing it, to be quite honest. They've got a decent formula, I'll give them that. They've got a manager who seems to know what he's doing and the direction he wants to take the club. But for me, they just don't have it. They're too inexperienced, and they will burn out. They will burn out. But Brentford, I did call that to be a 1-1 draw. And I'm not surprised by it. Arsenal do not like physicality. They don't like it. I know you're gonna say, VAR was wrong and blah 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 blah. Yeah, human error. I get it, but this happens almost every week with VAR now, so I'm not entirely surprised. And it's about time that Arsenal got something against them anyway. So I don't care. 1-1. Ivan Toney on the score sheet again, having a very, very good season. I can see him hitting 20 Premier League goals this year, to be quite honest with you. He's really, really good at what he does. It always seems to be in the right positions. Physically bullied Gabriel and Saliba all game pretty much. So I'm not going to turn around and say Brentford didn't deserve the goal because they should have won the game, I think. So, yeah, good draw. And Arsenal are now, hang on. I was going to say they're undefeated in 3. They're not. They've been beaten twice in the last 3 games and obviously drew against Brighton. So they're in a little bit of a lull at the moment. And I think that continues on Wednesday, which we'll obviously get into as well. We'll move on to Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace versus Brighton. I had this one as a Brighton win, and it should have been a Brighton win because there was another VAR faux pas at that game as well. Estupiñán's goal should have stood. And Brighton should have taken all 3 points. But as it were, I understand now a couple of the referees that were scheduled to take over weekend games have now been stood down. I believe one of them is Lee Mason. And I can't remember who the other one is. I did read it a couple of days back, but can't remember now. But Lee Mason is definitely off the rota. It serves them right, to be honest. You're referees and you're supposed to be able to see it anyway. You don't need the lines. Even with the naked eye, you can see that it was a goal. You can see that. So... yeah, hard done by Brighton. But again, another draw. Brighton are unbeaten, and I think it's 7 now. So a really, really decent draw away from home at a good Crystal Palace side who do like to pick up points at home, traditionally anyway. But a very entertaining game nonetheless. Enjoyed watching that one, actually. Really, really, really decent draw. We'll move on to Southampton versus Wolves. That was at St Mary's. So I understand Nathan Jones now obviously has left, because obviously I told you earlier Jesse Marsch is now close to getting that job. Southampton are just poor. The referee decision as well to send off Lemina was poor for Wolverhampton. Obviously realising Lemina used to play for Southampton as well. So it was just all round poor from Southampton, all round poor from the referee. Another mistake. So I'm guessing that card should be rescinded because Lemina didn't actually do anything wrong. But Wolves came back from 2-1 down with 10 men and just did the business. Nathan Jones out of a job now. That Southampton team lacks so much goals. They've got a little bit of creativity, a little bit of spark in the middle with James Ward-Prowse. But other than that, outside of him, there's not much going for them at the moment, which is obviously a bit of a conundrum that they've got to sort. I don't think they've got the tools to do it, and I do envisage them going down, and I think it's just going to be another rebuild job for them, which is unfortunate because I like Southampton. I've got nothing against them, but they are arguably probably one of the worst squads in the league. Like, it's not good for them. It's not looking good for them at all. Bournemouth versus Newcastle. I had this one down as a Newcastle win, but ever so slightly, literally just with the 1 goal. Close from my prediction there. Bournemouth ended up scoring first, funnily enough. Bournemouth I still see going down. They are still in the bottom 3. They slide down the table. They're not going to stop here. They've got a horrible run of games coming up as well, which isn't going to help their case in any way, shape or form. But again, this is something that I've been calling for ages. Newcastle seem to be running out of steam. This is why I've got confidence that we're still going to finish in the top 4, because I think we've got just too much more than them anyway. Yes, they do like to keep clean sheets, but we like to score a lot more goals. And that's what it's going to come down to. And knowing we've still got to go to St James's Park as well, it just adds everything into the mix for that. So I think the last 1 place for the Champions League is between us and Newcastle. I don't really see Chelsea or Liverpool mounting any kind of challenge for that, even though Liverpool do have a couple of games in hand and did win their game yesterday against Everton. I just don't see them rallying and getting consistent enough form to obviously do anything. Leeds United versus Man United, obviously midweek, different game. This one at Ellen Road, I anticipated Leeds to get a goal at least and didn't get anything. Unlucky for them, to be quite honest. As I said before, I think they played really, really well. Man United just too strong. Just too strong on the day. Marcus Rashford again with a great header. Not much more I can really say about Man United, to be quite honest. They're on the way back, it seems. So it's good to see, to be fair, because Man United throughout the years that I've known have obviously dominated. So it's good to see them sort of back up and running, if you like. And then they've got a manager that obviously has a plan and knows what he's doing. So, long may it continue for them. Title favourites and winners eventually. Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1. That was from the Etihad. Nothing really to write home about there. I think Erling Haaland got injured in the first half. I actually missed the first half of that game. He didn't come out for the second. But they didn't really need him, to be fair. I mean, arguably, Manchester City probably played better without him. I know Haaland is a goal scorer, certified, because he is. But City seem to flow a lot better when he's not in the side, if that makes sense. And that's what I think City will do, obviously, when they go to Arsenal on Wednesday. And I do think they're going to turn them over. But again, nothing to write home about. Routine win. I had Man City to win this 3-4-0 anyway. Aston Villa did get a goal through Ollie Watkins. Just a lack of concentration on City's part. But you're going to get that. City cruise throughout the game. Didn't really do anything major. Pretty much in second, third gear all game. But this is what we get from City. Roundabout business end of the season. It's all about results. Doesn't matter how you get them. And City round up winners. Now 3 points behind Arsenal. Having played a game more, of course. But they'll catch them. They've still got to play Arsenal twice. It's a wrap. City's going to win this league. And then Liverpool 2, Everton 0 to round off at Anfield. I had Everton to obviously win this game. Sean Dyche obviously beating Arsenal last week. I thought they can go and do the double. But of course, Everton are there to disappoint everybody, innit? That's what they do. A little bit vexed with them, actually. They did not show anything of what they did against Arsenal last week. Maybe that's down to them being at home. I'm not entirely sure. But it wasn't a good game. from them. Liverpool didn't play great either, to be fair. They just did enough to win the game. Salah back on the score sheet as well. And Gakpo to get his first goal in, 8-9 games or something like that. I don't think Gakpo is going to be a success. I still think Liverpool squad's too old. Everton didn't really come with anything anyway. Liverpool will get beaten in the next game probably. So that's just what it is. But as it stands, Liverpool sit ninth. 2 games in hand on everyone else above them. Whether they win those games is obviously, something worth looking into. But they got their first win, and I think about 6 in the Premier League. So, happy for them. Yeah, the sarcasm. Anyway, we'll get into the matches coming up over the weekend. There is obviously another one that's taking place tomorrow, not Wednesday, which is obviously Arsenal versus Manchester City. If I'm going to predict, I'm going to go with a 2-1 Manchester City win. I just think Man City are better than Arsenal. I know Arsenal are at home are a different kettle of fish, but they do concede there. And they've showed that the past few games that they've been playing there. Obviously, Newcastle kept into a 0-0 draw there as well. Man United obviously went there and scored 2 despite losing, and Brentford just went there and scored as well. I see Man City turning them over. That'll be a 2-1 win for me. On to the weekend then. Match day 24. We'll start off at Villa Park. Aston Villa versus Arsenal yet again. Arsenal are going to be live on TV. 12:30 kickoff. Unai Emery. Tough one to call. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw there. I know Unai Emery will probably go be out for revenge. Aston Villa at home in a morning kickoff. Early games are usually very different to evening games, so I'm going to go 1-1 on that one. Brentford versus Crystal Palace for the G-Tech. Brentford, for me, are going to win that game 2-0. I think Ivan Toney's going to be on the score sheet again. I just don't think Crystal Palace have anything away from home, so it's proved this season, hence why they are where they are in the league at the moment. 2-0 win for Brentford for me. Wolverhampton versus Bournemouth from Molineux. I believe Wolverhampton are going to take that game, and I think they'll win it by the same scoreline. I'm going to go 2-0 again. For that one, Mario Lemina should be back because I think Wolves are obviously going to appeal it, and they'll probably win it because it was a ridiculous ending off for them. Brighton versus Fulham is a tough one to call. I'm going to go Brighton on this one just for the fact that they're at home at the moment. And I do like Fulham, don't get me wrong. Fulham play some really, really good things. I just think Brighton are all wrong for their style. Brighton are one of those teams that do like to play on the front foot and can adapt their game to anyone that they're playing. Hence why they're so good to play and it's so good to see. I'll go with a 2-1 win there for Brighton. I'm going to go Mitoma to be on the score sheet there. Everton versus Leeds United from Goodison Park. Everton to win this one for me. I'm going to go 1-0. Leeds United are playing really decently, even without a manager at the moment. Just lacking that cutting edge. Hence the reason why I'm going to go with an Everton win. I think Everton will win this 1-0. There won't be much in it, but Everton will be the better team on the day. Sean Dyche at home. Clean sheet. Works for me. Low scoring game, that one as well. Chelsea versus Southampton from Stamford Bridge. Southampton have had a couple of nice results there throughout the years, but I don't see that happening this time round. New manager bounce could play a huge part. It usually does. No Nathan Jones. Chelsea aren't in the best of form, so they could spring a surprise. I just don't see it happening. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win Chelsea. Chelsea don't score many goals either. They don't concede many nowadays either as well. So that's why it'll be low goal scoring for me. And I think Chelsea will take this game 1-0. But don't be surprised if Southampton pull off a result based on the fact that Nathan Jones isn't there anymore. Might be more creative freedom. Who knows? But Southampton still can't put the ball in the back of the net. So there is that. Chelsea 1-0 win for me. But don't be surprised if Southampton do pull off a result. We will go next to the City ground. That's Nottingham Forest. Yes, Nottingham Forest City ground against Manchester City. Forest have been one of the better teams at home this season. I think they're really bettered by Newcastle, Arsenal and Manchester City themselves with regards to their home form. I think they've only lost a couple of games there so far all season. I think they're going to lose another one here. I think Manchester City are going to be on a resurgence. They'll win the game for me, City 2-1. But Forest will give them a very, very good game there. They really will. They'll go at them. So this won't be easy. But I do think City obviously have enough and they will win that game. I think Haaland should be back by then as well. Kevin De Bruyne should start too. Man City 2-1 from the City grounds for me. Newcastle versus Liverpool. That is the evening kickoff on Saturday. I'm going to go with a Newcastle win. I said it earlier, about 5 minutes ago, Liverpool are probably going to lose their next game. And there it is. Newcastle at home, still undefeated. And actually, Liverpool are the only team to beat in the season at Anfield. They're the only team that's done that. But I think Newcastle get their revenge, and I think they beat Liverpool in the evening kickoff at St James's. I will go I'll go 3-1. I'll go 3-1 there. I know Virgil van Dijk is back as well. I just don't think they're good enough. That Everton game didn't show me anything. And I think they're going to lose their next game. Man United versus Leicester. That's Super Sunday. Man United, for me, to win it. I know Leicester have scored 8 goals in their last 2 games. They scored half of those against us. But Man United at Old Trafford are just different this season. And I think they'll get the 3 points. No nonsense, Man United. No nonsense under Eric Ten Hag. They go out and do business. That's what they do. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. I'll go with a 3-1 win there for Manchester United, with Marcus Rashford scoring a brace. I'm going to do some of these bets as well that I'm talking about too. Final game of Super Sunday, Spurs versus West Ham, as I stated before. Now, West Ham are one of the annoying teams that like to come to our patch and pick up results. They've done it on every occasion, pretty much throughout the last 10 years that I can remember. They've always seemed to nick points from us. I'm going to put my neck on the line for this one and say we're going to win it 2-1. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I think we will. Højbjerg obviously will be back for the weekend. Probably be in the midfield with Pap Sarr. Kane, Son, Kulusevski will probably start. Defensively is the worry for me. West Ham obviously love to pump the ball into the box. They're very, very good at set pieces as well, and which is our Achilles heel. But I do think we'll take the game 2-1. Harry Kane will probably score against West Ham, as he always seems to tend to do. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. So those are my predictions, and obviously the roundup of the last week. Back in England now as well at the moment. So, yeah, we'll get right into it. I'll probably give you another video next week, Wednesday, Thursday, I think, because I know there's a Friday night game, which is Fulham versus Wolves from Craven Cottage, which will be another good weekend of football there. But until then, enjoy the rest of your week and try and enjoy the football now, because obviously Champions League is back. Obviously, we're in action against AC Milan tonight, which I'm not looking forward to. The other game tonight, I think, is PSG versus Bayern Munich, which is obviously a massive game for both of those clubs as well. But yeah, I'll keep you updated if there's anything that comes out of anything football related, and I'll speak to you guys again soon, man, in a bit.